Hi guys, hello, welcome again. And as you all know, my name is Sean Aromavo, and I'm here to teach us and talk to us about 5 things we need to consider before we choose a domain name. But before I go right into it, I'd just like you to subscribe to the YouTube channel, and so that you'll be able to get more information about what we're giving out to you and things we're trying to pass out to you as our subscribers or as our followers. All right, so like I said earlier on, I'm here to share with you 5 things to consider before choosing a domain name. You know, most of the times, people who want to start a website, be it custom made or be it built on a CMS platform, or be it on Wix or any other platform that you use to build your website, people have issues with coming up with a domain name, and it's a major problem. Like, some people always crack their head to just get a domain name, and this is not something that is very hard. It's not something that is very tedious, right? It's as easy as bread and butter that we eat every day. All right, so I'm just going to make it simple for us and give out 5 basic informations and 5 things to consider in choosing a domain name. Are you ready for it? So here today I have 5 things, and I put for the first one is your domain name must be brandable. Your domain name must be attractive, right? So when I say your domain name must be brandable, you must have this unique taste, right? So that when people hear about your domain name, they have this feel like, oh, this is catchy, or this is something that they want to relate to it, and it should be something that nobody else has it in the market space. Do you get? So a domain name that is brandable is easy to carry out, or is easy to make the business on that particular site proud. Do you understand? So another thing we want to talk about, the second thing we want to talk about, is a domain name must be easy to memorize, right? You don't want to stress your people. You don't want to stress people that are coming to your website, right? So it must be easy to memorize. In what sense? Is when people are actually trying to visit your site, you don't want them to go through the stress of having to write down your domain name somewhere, so that when they want to reach out to your site, they'll go and look for their diaries or where they kept it to actually remember. So it must be easy to memorize, something that will be catchy to them, and something that would, okay, once they pick up their phone, they already know where they are going to, or they already know how easy it is to type, right? So that's why I said in the initial state, the domain name must be brandable and attractive. Then it must be easy to memorize. You don't want to stress people to actually that are actually coming on your website, and you don't want to give them, oh, they start asking, what's the name of that website, what's the name of that website again. That will not even increase conversion on your website. So yeah, the second thing is what it must be easy to memorize, right? And the third thing I'm trying to talk about is it must be short as possible, right? Some domain names are really, really long, and they are really stressful to understand, right? So that's why I said from the initial state that it must be easy to memorize, and it must be short as possible. You want to give it this form of simplicity, right, and not something complex that would actually still represent the brand. Do you understand? Another thing I would like to talk about is it must be easy to type and not something that is mixed up, right? You don't want to give them a domain name that doesn't even represent your business. Do you understand? So like I was saying, like, the fourth thing I'd like to talk about now is it must be easy to spell and type down. You don't want people to be wondering how they want to spell your site or how they want to actually type out your site. You don't want to keep them something too complex, right? Like I said earlier on, if your site is not easy to memorize, then you're stressing people already, and they don't want to go through all that stress. And once they go through all that stress, you see people leaving the website gradually. So you want to make sure that the site is easy to spell and is easy to interact with. Now, the final and the most important is the part where I want to talk about is your site must carry your business name. Your site must work in accordance to what your brand or your business is trying to represent. Let me give you a quick example. I'm trying to sell foods online, and I'm putting something that has to do with like digital marketing or I'm putting something that has to do with like selling clothes, right? So if I'm selling food, so let me even direct it to a particular niche. Now I'm selling something that has to do with like grilled fish, right? And I don't have something like tennisgrills.com, or I don't have something that has to do with like thetastefishcom or something like that, that has that particular thing I'm trying to bring out to people, then it's going to be a problem. And this is also a problem in terms of when you're trying to use that site to rank in on SEO, right? So it is something you want to really look into, to making sure that your domain is rhyming with the particular business you're trying to give out to people, right? So this would actually enable it to actually do well in the SEO ranking and when people are trying to search for the particular site online, right? So I've really talked about 5 things that you have to consider before choosing a domain name, because as easy as this could sound, a domain name is something that actually represents a site, or it's something, or it is that object, is that thing that people actually look out for. It's something that represents the site, like I said earlier on. It's something that people look out for to actually look for a particular site. It's always designated to a particular business or to a particular website. You would never ever see a domain name that is representing 2 websites. Never. So it's either one domain name for a particular website. And quickly, I'd like to share with you basic and few domain extensions that we have, right? We have the .com, we have the .org, we have the .web, we have .ng for people who are actually using Nigeria's hosting servers, right? We have the .ng, we have the .co, we have .uk, so we have different extensions for the domain, right? Depending on how it's going to represent your business. But the most common one we all know is .com, right? We have .org for people who have their business in a professional and more elaborate way. They mostly go for the .org aspect of the extension, the domain extension. So these things, you want to consider them. Oh, my website, what is the major use for this website? Okay, this is going to represent it. I want to go for tennisfish.com, or I want to go for tennisfish.com.ng, or I want to go for tennisfish.com.web, or the blog, or the whatever I want it to actually carry out. So I hope that we've been able to pick all these things, and we're actually going to use it to act as a first step, right, in building websites. Whichever site you want to build, you need to put this into consideration, right? Thank you very much for joining in today. I hope we have actually learned something out of it, and we're going to take practice to actually use it to select what particular names of domains we want to use. And do well. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube to our YouTube channel, and make sure that you're following us, because we're going to be giving out insightful topics that will actually help you to grow in the digital marketing space. And don't forget that most of the things we're actually giving out here are things that we actually dish out to you at Digital Marketing Skill Institute. Thank you very much. See you next time.